Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today with update number 24. Just before we get into that, you'll notice that I did post a video late last night after my update from yesterday. That was a battle video I did with Lady Heroscape for a holiday video. I figured it was about time I also posted a a battle video for you guys. It's been a while, and especially a holiday video. Can't remember the last time I did one of those. So fun little theme, Heroscape Labor Day. I felt like it went pretty well, and it was a really good close game. So yeah, check it out in addition to the daily updates. Speaking of daily updates, today we get into some really deep theorizing. I don't really know what to think, other than I don't really know what to think. So we've got some things to talk about. So let's jump right in. Living tide of death and destruction, the Oathbound are the Craven Court's vanguard shock troops, rushing ahead of the main attack force to overwhelm defenses and locate weaknesses to exploit during the main advance. Their adaptive strategies allow them to modify their unit composition based on real-time assessments of the enemy, sometimes spreading out across the battlefield as smaller units of Oathbound Legionnaires, swarming across and over the battlefield to engage multiple adversaries, distracting them from the Craven Court reinforcements close behind. Other times, the Oathbound will gather together into an Oathbound phalanx, placing their sheer weight in numbers together against a single weak point and shatter their opposition in a massive hammer blow of razor-sharp teeth and deathly talons. Yeah, so a lot to talk about there. Let's look at the imagery. Here we are. Let's talk about the miniatures first. We've got a horde here. Now notice there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's like, I think there's 21. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gosh, yeah, there's about 20 little things there. And it's it's probably on a single hex because it's really tall. And it's a whole massive, I guess it's called the phalanx. This is a little bit, oh, here we go. That's a little bit more detailed. So count those up. What is interesting, though, is I can't tell if this is a hero or a... So here's the thing. It says unique hero, Oathbound Phalanx. And this says unique squad. So what is this? Are these 3 separate units? They have to be, right? Because I'm seeing this and they look like they're on top of each other. Yeah, see, they're like, they've designed it to make it look like they can go on top of each other. But if you come over here, this seems like a hero. So is this... They have 2 separate names. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is it a type of unit where only one can exist on the battlefield at the same time? For example, they have different names, so you'd think they could both be on the battlefield, but it sounds like, they're the same unit, right? It's like they're called the Oathbound Phalanx when they're in this form, right? But when they're not, they're considered the Oathbound Legionnaires. So are they... Oh, gosh, I just don't even know. So is this like groups of 3? And this group of 3 is one squad in separate miniatures, but then they can also modify onto themselves. Like, I just don't understand. The other thing too is like bases. How do you modify a unit onto another unit when you have bases in play? I'm just so confused. See, like, it looks like the red is them trying to find ways to attach units onto each other. It is so cool, but I'm just so confused. And the thing is I'm like, okay, so how are the gameplay aspects of it? Yeah, see, look at this. So you've got 2, and then the third is on top. So there's all kinds of different ways that it says it's modifying, but if this is the hero coming together, and this is the squad, is the squad still on a single base? Or can you actually use individual miniatures so it's moving and attacking as 3 separate miniatures? I can't tell. I can't figure it out. How could it be a unique squad and be on the same base, right? And how could it be a unique hero? Well, no, I guess that makes sense. I guess the unique hero makes sense. That said, is this really a hero? These are like hive-minded, little, spider things. Attacking as 1. I don't know. So what this does is this makes a whole ton of new design space open. First off, I mean, this is cool, but it's just like, okay, what is happening here? Like, I just don't understand. Like, are we getting modular units that you can take off their bases and then reattach to other units and then mid-game put them back on their bases and move around? Or is this only going to be represented in gameplay? So, like, for example, maybe this is a 1 unit on 1 base with 3 miniatures on the base, and they allow you to attack 3 times, right? And they call it a unique squad, but it's on 1 base. Is that how they do it, to make it simple but not too overcomplicated? Or are we truly actually going to get miniatures, modular miniatures that you can trade and move around between other units and combine? See, there's not 3 here, there's only 2. So can you combine 2 units to attack? Can you combine up to 3 over here and over here? And then can you upgrade and like combine it with the Oathbound Phalanx, which is a unique hero? The other thing is I'm like, do you trade out one for the other? So, it talks about how the Legionnaires turn into the Phalanx, right? Let's read that. It says, adaptive strategies. Come across the battlefield as smaller units. Okay, real-time strategy. As smaller units of Oathbound Legionnaires swarming across to engage multiple. Other times, the Oathbound will gather together into an Oathbound Phalanx. Okay, actually, okay. So that I think I'm corrected. So here it is telling us there are 2 separate units. The Phalanx, and I knew that, but my concern or my thought was, okay, only one can exist on the battlefield at the same time, right? I was thinking, okay, if you want your unit in the form of a Legionnaire, then it's on the Legionnaire, and then if you want it to turn into a Phalanx, you switch out the miniatures that are the Legionnaires and put the Phalanx on the board. But this is clearly 2 units that you can have in the same army, obviously. I don't know why that didn't click for me. But it's similar to other types of units in the game where they're the same species or they're from the same faction, but they just have different roles, right? This role is clearly, bonded together as a Phalanx, and these are very clearly bonded together as Legionnaires. It's just weird that this can be a hero. So anyway, okay, so interesting. If this is truly modular units, modular miniatures, this just blows up an entire new possibility with how this game is played. So I'm very curious to see how they implement this with the miniatures. I truly have no idea, but yeah, this is crazy. And just wanted to do a shout out for Skywhale. I thought it was hilarious. There was a little discussion on the Discord with a few of the guys who were just talking about being on the videos from the Discord comments. So Skywhale, here's your official shout out. Hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing your comments on the video. So yeah, if you disagree, if you want to share your thoughts, yeah, absolutely, more than willing to talk about it. So there you go. Skywhale made it into the video. So really interesting units there. Unique hero and unique squad. A unique hero for the first time that's a conglomerate of tons of little miniatures, right? It's not one entity with one brain. It's a kind of a hive mind feel again, all together to operate as one, which is an interesting concept. So the unique hero is the Phalanx. The unique squad is the Legionnaires. Again, I'm a little surprised there's such a massive focus on unique squads. That doesn't mean common squads aren't coming, and I sure hope it doesn't. I'm still very much of the opinion that it makes absolutely no sense if they didn't. But I think I'm realizing that unique squads just had a really tough time in original Heroscape. Now, two of the greatest squads in the game get played all the time. Mara Warriors, Krav Maga, right? So it's not entirely true because in the competitive scene, they get used all the time, right? But in terms of other unique squads, yeah, a lot of the other unique squads just didn't have a lot of playtime or just don't in general. And so I think this is kind of cool that they are potentially building the factions to allow for unique squads to go toe-to-toe with other heroes and other, armies with lots of common squads. My fear is this, that if there's too much of a focus on unique squads, then even in the competitive scene, it will still be Squadscape, right? I mean, common squads from the original base game very much could still own the space. And I'm okay with that. I like Heroscape for that fact. I love big armies. I love hordes with a few supporting heroes. There's just different ways to play the game. So I have no problem, and I would still love to see common squads in Arena or Age of Annihilation. I just hope that there's not this fear of making the common squads too overpowered, which is why they're not doing them. I have no idea. We haven't gotten a common squad yet. So until we do, I'm still going to have that in the back of my mind saying, I don't know, I think they're making a mistake. Until I see a common squad, I'm still going to be holding out, hoping they don't make that a mistake. So unique squads are great. But again, it's only 3-4 figures, and the minute you lose one, no matter how much you jack up their abilities or their cost or, whatever, make them OP, make them super strong to take on 4 squads of whatever common squad you have, unique squads still just get limited by activations, number of figures on the board. So you have to do sometimes too much to beef them up, and then at that point, sometimes they just get too good in the right situations. And so I'm a little bit concerned that they might be over designing. If they're trying to focus on unique squads, they have to make them good enough to hold their own. But sometimes by doing so, you can make them overpowered in the right situations. And so I'm curious to see how that plays out. So that's my bit. I'll get off my soapbox. I've said that before. I'm saying it again. We'll see how that goes. In terms of this design, I think there's a ton of really cool opportunity here to design units with modular abilities. We don't know that they're allowing the units to connect and deconnect. If they're able to do that as a mechanic used by the current Heroscape rule set, meaning if they do it, so here's the thing, is you've got the Roman archers, I think, which is a great way to represent this type of mechanic. The Roman archers have arrow volley, which requires them to meet a lot of conditions. Unengaged, same level, unengaged, same level, and then I think there's like a third condition or something. Gosh, I should look it up. But anyway, they, and within range, right? Obviously, and clear line of sight, or whatever. So all 3 units have to be adjacent, engaged, or unengaged, same level, within line of sight, within range, and then they can combine their attacks for an attack of 6, right? Which is awesome. But again, the mechanics of Heroscape are pushing them for a specific theme, right? And so it's not super complicated. I mean, it's hard to pull off the conditions you have to meet. But again, the ability is for a very specific gameplay theme. And so I could see them designing these units the same way. where they're not getting crazy. They're not having you mod your units and pull them off and repurpose them and put them back on and rebuild them on the battlefield. That just seems bizarre and overcomplicated, which I'm like, that's cool to open that design space, but if that's what they're doing, I'm like, that's more like 40K, right? Build your army, add a new arm, add a leg, add a different head, okay, throw on a shield, I was never interested in that in 40K. So I'm hoping that it's not that kind of modular, okay, let's add this guy and then add this guy, and when I add this guy, I get this ability, when I add this guy, I get 2 more health, or when I add this guy, I get an extra defense. Like, I'm not sure about that. So we'll see. But if they do something like the Roman archers, where you basically say, okay, well, if you have, of your 3 unique squad figures, if one's adjacent to the other one, that's considered, modifying it, then maybe +1 defense or +1 attack, or, whatever the abilities are. If you have 2 adjacent to them, again, that's as if they're modding on top of each other. Then maybe they get an additional XYZ, right? So I can see them using the current Heroscape rule set and game mechanics to allow us to pull off some cool abilities just by simply saying they have to be adjacent, right? Which I think is totally perfect and totally fine. Roman archers do it very well. They exude the theme of an arrow volley by the way that their ability is designed. I'm hoping that's the way they're doing it. If they're not, and they're saying, yeah, pull him off his base in the middle of battle in a 1-hour game at a tournament, take your other units and attach them to each other and then reattach them to a base, and hey, now he's, all modded up and he's beefed up. Like, okay, no, that's too much. So my assumption is they're just going to say, hey, here's 3-figure squad, when they're adjacent to each other, they get bonuses. Oh, and by the way, you also have this phalanx, which is the true, modded version of them all coming together, and he also has additional abilities that XYZ, right? So I'm not sure yet. The concept art made me think I'm not so sure yet. So take that what you will. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. This is a very unique design that they've presented with potential to be pretty out there and edgy if they decide to go that route. Otherwise, I'm hoping they keep it fairly simple without over designing. So we'll see. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.